There are so many everyday items that come with hidden design features and secrets. If you were already amazed by the 10 that were explained in our previous video, or curious to see if there are any that you actually don't know, I'm sure you won't be disappointed by the unique items explained in this video.
Amazing!
Number 8. Brass and copper handles. Undoubtedly you're scratching your head about this one. Like, what could be the underlying purpose of a handle? We all know they're used to open doors, right? True, but the reason they're often made from brass and copper has a purpose in itself. Brass and copper actually have good antimicrobial properties, so effectively this material will disinfect itself, getting rid of 99% of germs you leave behind after touching the handle within 2 hours. Now that's food for thought next time you're staring at one on the toilet. Number 7. Golf ball dimples. The reason golf balls look like they're constantly ridden with acne is quite an interesting one. Back when golf balls were smooth, golfers realised that older balls that had been beat up with slices, nicks and bumps seemed to actually fly further than the ones that were new and perfectly smooth. Since seeing is believing, golfers eventually preferred to use older balls to newer ones, and that got the attention of golf ball designers. They realised that the cuts and bumps acted as turbulators, inducing turbulence in the layer of air next to the ball. Effectively, in some situations, this turbulent boundary layer actually reduces drag, allowing the ball to travel to a greater distance. Number 6. Brown coloured glass bottles. Just like the copper and brass handles, the colour of beer bottles is an incredibly important and often overlooked feature of your favourite brew. Most brewers actually choose brown coloured glass to help block out ultraviolet light from the sun. Without this coloured glass, a beer will go foul sooner than with it, and thus will lead it to smelling and tasting pretty bad. Number 5. The 57 on a Heinz bottle. The number 57 is a lucky number chosen by Henry Heinz in 1896, which he started using in all of his advertising, using the slogan, 57 varieties. However, according to Heinz, only 11% of people know the secret behind why it's placed on the neck of Heinz bottles. Apparently, it's used as a way to get Heinz ketchup out of the bottle. The 57 print locates the sweet spot of the bottle. To release ketchup faster from the bottle, it's suggested that you apply a firm tap to this number. Number 4. Prescription bottle caps. These things look odd, but they're actually really useful. Most medication has child lock bottle caps, so that babies don't start popping unwanted pills while you're not looking. However, when the cap protrudes like this, it means that the cap can actually be reversed, unchild-proofing your prescription bottle for that little extra convenience of not having to push down whilst you screw off the cap. After all, that's why the cap is threaded. Number 3. Jeans studs and small pockets. Most people probably have no idea what's up with the strange design quirks of jeans. For instance, this peculiar pocket within the larger one of your jeans, which is sometimes assumed to be a coin pocket, despite making it nearly impossible to retrieve your loose change. Interestingly, until recently, it did actually serve a good purpose and was seen on Levi jeans back in 1873. Back then, pocket watches were extremely popular and the small pocket was designed to hold the watch. Since the watch has moved on leaps and bounds since then, meaning that people don't carry them around anymore, many people have assumed that it's a coin pocket or fashion symbol. And you were probably also wondering what these were while looking at that small pocket. Well, these are actually called rivets, and a great deal of jean companies put them near your pockets, but not for the reason you might have first thought. They exist to add strength to the corners of your pockets, because a great deal of fabric and stitching goes into these areas. These rivets reinforce points of stress within clothing to give them the strength they need to keep in shape for a long length of time. They also look kinda cool. Number 2. Measuring tape hole and serrated edge. These are pretty simple, but equally interesting design details. This hole here actually exists, so that you can hook onto nails or screws to measure safely without the tape measure slipping. Also, in a situation where your hands are full and you cannot mark where your measurement is, the serrated edge at the end of the tape measure will come in handy. What it does is enables you to mark your measurement by cutting a small groove. Number 1. Winglets. These aerodynamic curved wingtips were developed by a NASA engineer in the 70s who took inspiration from birds that curl their wingtip feathers while flying. They may come in different shapes and sizes depending on the shape of the aircraft, and are usually decorated with a logo, website, or company branding, but as you've probably guessed, they're not actually for aesthetics. What they do is make it easier for a plane to cut through the air by reducing the wingtip vortex and the associated drag on the wing. Essentially, a wing produces an area of high pressure below the wing and an area of low pressure above the wing. At the tip, air tends to flow around the tip itself, reducing the pressure differential and thus the efficiency of the wing. This is called transverse flow, and this could be reduced by simply making the wing longer. But the beauty of the wingtip is that since it does not produce lift itself, it's less stressed when in flight, and thus can be made out of lighter material than simply elongating the flat wing. Planes can fly without them, but it pays off when they exist, in the form of safer travel, lower emissions, and reduced noise pollution. So next time you stare at one out the window of a flight, remember that we have birds to thank for it. Do you know any other cool, unusual purposes of everyday items? Let us know in the comments below.